Okay, so this is really cool. I'm interviewing Sorin. Hi, Sorin.
Hello.
Hi, and Sorin, can you tell us where you are and what you're doing?
Well, right now I'm actually driving.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop in a few moments, a few probably minutes,
Yeah.
because I'm in the middle of traffic. And what I'm doing, I work like anybody else. I earn my living with plumbing and tiling, fit kitchens, bathrooms, so on.
Okay. And Sorin, are you a starseed?
Well, to be honest with you, I can only go by the signs of how I feel, and I saw on YouTube a few videos about if you feel this and if you feel that,
Uh-huh.
more likely to be a starseed, earth angel, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I did walk on my own. Nobody introduced me, nobody pointed to anywhere to go. I started to be attracted with information of how to heal yourself with the help of the subconscious minds when I was 24. I read a book, a key book of my life actually was, the name of the book was Keys of Success.
Keys?
The author is The Keys of Success.
The keys of success.
Yes, it was actually, the name of the author is a Romanian guy, just like me, Pavel Kurut, which I believe to this moment and ever will, that he's actually saved my life with this book. It was his
Can you
first
say
book.
his name again?
Pavel Kurut. It's P-A-V-E-L for Lima, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have C-U.
Yeah.
Sorry, C-O.
Yeah.
R.
Yeah.
U. T
Yeah.
for Tommy.
There we go. So, hello there, Steve.
Hello there, Parmjit.
How are you?
Good. Well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good. I'm great. Thank you. So we managed to overcome the technical problem. So let's get on with the interview now. Can you tell us where you are and what you're doing?
I'm in Missouri, near St. Louis, Missouri, and I work in a hospital. I'm a transporter. I have an X-ray degree that will be at some point, but I'm currently working in the hospital and healthcare where I feel I should be right now, and yeah, that's me professionally. Starseeds really don't identify through their profession per se,
Okay.
but I am educated. I have jumped through the hoops, but so
Okay.
I research on my own a lot as well. I'm a very curious person.
Okay. So first of all, I want to clarify that you do identify yourself as a starseed.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So can you explain to us how that came about? How do you know what identifies you as that?
Now, Starseed, like I explained before, everyone we think is a starseed as far as our origins not being of this planet. But there are those who are more recent arrivals to Earth, who haven't been here for multiple incarnations, or if they have, there hasn't been very many. And we are aware of a mission that we're here to do, to help everyone else remember, but also that within that objective is Earth going green and society getting along better. All these other practical considerations that a lot of other people are on board with. So while we do have our understanding of reincarnation and that we remember we have lives elsewhere before we came here, and we came here with a certain intention before we were born through our mother's wombs. We also are not so disconnected to where we can't cooperate, because like your video that you posted about Ireland, that really resonated with our community, because that's what we want. Decreasing pollution and going green is a huge is a huge priority of our community. So that
So you seem to be saying that everybody has come from outside the Earth, or the majority of us. So the majority of us are starseeds or potential starseeds.
well, yeah. My understanding is 100% because again, I've been aware since July 17th of 2017, so I haven't been in the game that long. But my understanding is that if you go far back enough, their soul didn't originate here. Some people have been here for thousands of years and thus identify as being human, and this is all they know and this is all they remember. But if you go far back enough, they also had experiences other places besides here. So that's why everyone per se is a starseed. But those of us who are more recent arrivals, and we are getting together as a community and trying to establish a rapport and to administrate our missions together. That's the Starseed community. So I'm kind of defining Starseeds and Starseed community as two different things, even though we all have the
Starseeds are people who are relatively new,
right,
being an Earthling or Earth-based sentient being.
That's correct.
Okay, and so how do you know which you are?
For me, the thing about being which kind of starseed, I'll have to explain like how incarnation works and how you bring yourself into this existence, because really all of us have been multiple places. So the way I identify which kind of starseed I am doesn't define me completely across the board. It just means that was the last place I was before I came here. But all of us have been multiple places. So while I'll say I'm a Pleiadian starseed from the Pleiades, that's just because I reincarnated through their system, and most of my mission has to do with their objectives because they have different.
Because that was your last reincarnation before this one.
Right, and that gets tricky too because we think time is an illusion. We're experiencing time. We experience linear time, and that it's real to us because we're living in it. But on the outside, on a soul level, everything's happening simultaneously. So I understand my last incarnation as Pleiadian, but really everything's all going on at the same time. So
okay, just to complicate things a little bit more.
Right, but we're here on missions, and the missions have a certain flavor to them. So really, when someone says I'm a Pleiadian starseed, I'm an Arcturian starseed, that means their specific mission objectives, kind of like a secret agent, is coming from certain ET councils. That is kind of an authority organizations outside of us.
Okay.
So,
but I want to know how did you know that you are a starseed, and how did you get that identification for yourself?
All right, that's good. Awakening is how we get to that point. It happens differently in different individuals. I can tell you my personal experience, but it's an activation of our Kundalini energy. That's what they call it in Indian culture, or they call it chi in Japan and China and whatnot. It's the same kind of life force, but it activates, and then you reach a certain different level of awareness and remembrance that you did before. You don't attain it all. It comes in gradually, and the first experiences are just kind of the general awareness of you not being from here, without a whole lot of detail to that. I had my remembrance, my activation, if you will, and apparently this is quite a common way, is from hearing a teaching that resonates, and it was from a channeler that channels. It was channeling an ET, but it's a universal teaching for those who follow the light versus the dark. It's called the Law of One, and he simply stated, "We are all one. I am you. You are me," and all that. That although that kind of flies in the face of what most people are taught growing up, I just knew right in the moment. It just triggered my intuition, and that's huge. We hear us talking about intuition a lot, to where we just know, we have a knowing. It's clairsentience, if you will. And
can you put that in context? Where were you? And
I was just searching the internet on YouTube videos, and I actually started off looking at the government conspiracies. I just had an inkling that the government was keeping things from us. So that's what started it. But then I went, the algorithm in YouTube is when you watch those types of videos, then it starts giving you, you know, ET videos as well. And so I just stumbled upon it, and I thought it was pretty odd because trance channeling is when you're probably what I'll be doing is when your eyes are closed and you're pretty much letting information go through you, and a lot of times your voice changes a bit. Whereas conscious channeling is more with your eyes open mostly, and just speaking with your own voice what you feel these beings are trying to communicate to you. And so it was a trance channeler, which is pretty odd to an outsider, and I was an outsider at that juncture. And I remember making a conscientious choice of reserving judgment, at least listening to the message that he's saying instead of paying attention to like him doing this and just being strange. And that's when he said the law of one, when I was like paying attention to the message and putting aside my prejudice. And that's when I remembered that's absolutely true, even though it's against everything I had previously heard.
So what came first, like the awakening experience or the message?
The awakening, well, the message kind of intensified the awakening. The awakening was just a strange experience that I couldn't translate. I didn't know how to interpret. Before that message, I had a strange encounter with just a woman in the store where she was angry about something else, and I accidentally bumped into her, and she just kind of, she's like, "Watch where you're going," and I knew it wasn't me. She was thinking about something else. It's common to humanity. Well, after I left the store that day, I felt angry. I felt this rage inside of me, even though I had no reason to be angry. And I wasn't angry at her. And I realized I had absorbed her anger. I had taken on her energy, and now it was flowing through me, even though I wasn't that just upset with her. I was feeling her energy, and I felt like she was having an argument with a man in her life. Like I even had a premonition as to why she was in that mood, and I'm like, this is somebody else's emotion. This isn't mine. So that's an empathetic experience, and like when they speak of empaths. So I don't consider myself primarily an empath, but that's kind of something everybody experiences to a degree when they awaken, to where you can take on other people's energy and feel it.
Is that when your awakening started?
That's when it started. I had no idea what was going on.
It's quite random.
Yes, very random. And apparently, your awakening is predetermined before you come here. You're supposed to be unaware. You're supposed to be asleep, because there are things to be gained by being asleep. There are lessons that can be learned, and
so before that point, you were totally not aware. You were not conscious of all of this. You were just a normal man going about his everyday business.
Yes, yeah. I wasn't. I mean, besides looking into conspiracy theories, I mean, I wasn't looking into anything spiritual. I don't think it was going to lead to anything spiritual. So I was a surprise. Right. The interconnectedness was I was unaware.
I can't point my finger. I can't. I can only go by what I feel, what I know about Starseeds. The fact that I done this on my own, I was attracted to this information. I was attracted to hear myself. Started to change my DNA. Started to see things with my third eye a few times, and obviously find that life, after all, can be amazing after so much suffering. I could not understand, since I was a child, I could not understand why kids are hurting each other.
Yeah.
This is why I was the most bullied kid in the whole school.
Okay.
I just found a parking spot. Starseeds. Whether I am one or not, it's irrelevant.
Okay.
I would like to know, but I know exactly what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
First of all, the best I can do is be myself.
Okay.
Give an example to all around me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to bother think when people was thinking about me, that, the way I dress, the way I, talk, stuff like this, but not so much. My father used to bring me into this. You should go do this. You should do that because people talk about you. Now I'll probably lie if I didn't say that I don't care. But I tell you what, I'm gonna give you a percentage.
Hmm.
I do care about, say, about 5%, maybe not even that. The thing is, that I am conscious that we are all one. I do started to live in oneness. I know I have to um, unlock my inner powers. I have to align my chakras, open the Kundalini, if you like.
Okay.
I'm conscious.
Is
I
that
know.
the
I know.
first step?
And when I will do that, when I will ask for the right of birth, because that is the right of birth. It's not what we do. What we do is we're just serving a negative collective.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, we're supposed to remember who we really are, and so this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to work on myself, and I've been
Okay.
lazy,
Okay.
but I
I
will
have a
do that.
question. I have a
Yes,
question.
yes, go on.
So my question is
Yeah,
it that you need to get to a certain point as Sorin in unlocking yourself and getting in touch with the things you need to get in touch with? Do you need to do that first before you can start living out your purpose?
I'm not conditioning myself to do anything first. I'm just, I'm just flying solo at the moment. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm not afraid at all. I know I'm powerful. I know they are afraid of me. I know that. I
Okay.
felt them. I saw them.
Uh-huh.
So how can I
Okay,
put
so
this?
tell me, so tell me what your purpose is and how that is unfolding, or how maybe how it should be unfolding.
This is the thing. This is what I'm trying to say. That I should be more organized. I should be more. How can I put this? Not so. After knowing all I knowing, I should be more. You see, I'm not trying to condition myself. I should be this and I should be that. I'm just realizing I have this consciousness of what's happening. Um, I found the truth. I know I'm a man with an eye in the country of blind. I can
Yeah.
realize that.
Okay.
Realize that. And I'm
Okay.
not taking advantage of that. That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say. I am not taking advantage. I should take advantage of that. I could do that.
So you can see the things that are wrong, but I'm getting the sense that you're not altogether clear and
Yes,
focused
exactly
about what to
why,
do about
why, yeah.
it. People can call themselves activists, change makers, whatever they want to
I'm one
call.
of them. You're
Yeah.
speaking to one of the anarchists. Yes, I am one of them. I don't believe in
And
this.
and what
this
I
this-
say is important is that you need to be on a twin track. One is something around the self-development and the spirituality and kind of keeping all of those concepts strong, the principles of non-duality. And the
That's
other
right.
one, the other track is something about, your sense of purpose and what you're going to give, what you're going to develop of yourself that you can add to the pot of let's do things
Collective. Yes,
let's
with
get
the, yes.
so it's something that you've got to do both things together.
I
And
can explain how this works. This anarchy
okay,
is badly misunderstood by many people. Obviously, the system, they don't want us to be anarchists. How can I put this? A person that lives an anarchist, um, is supposed to be something like 4 density around body, vibrating at that level. Because if an anarchist on the 3rd density realm level, he will probably misunderstand the word. He'll probably do things with no conscience, make others suffer, so on.
Yeah.
But you see, when you have, how can I put this? There's a word which is escaping me right now. When you have the sense of this responsibility around you, don't ever do anything that you wouldn't like to be done to yourself. If you live in an energy like this, you don't need rules, you don't need laws, you don't need stuff like this, and you know. And obviously, but you know, this is another very complex subject, because obviously the system don't want us to think that way. That, you know, all this information.
What we need is I think the hardest part is probably to come up with kind of the transition, you know, kind of rules and structure about what is going to guide us into framework where things are going to work, but we are still going to need rules, and we are still going to need justice and money and all of those things while we're, you know, undergoing the transition.
We don't need money to go around. This is just a tool for slavery.
We do. We can't just suddenly, you know, now get rid of it.
Well, not suddenly, but you know,
so we're talking about a transition. So to finish off with, 2 things that would help.
Yeah.
You.
Please.
I want you to tell me.
I'm sorry. Tell what?
Tell me 2 things that would help you.
Right.
Yes. To reach your purpose, to reach the point that you are trying to get to right now.
Yes, I will tell you with shame. I'm ashamed of myself that way.
No, we're not allowed to be ashamed. That will lower your vibration.
Not in that type of shame. I mean, like, you know, in a way that I know I can do better than that, and I'm just ignoring my powers. I'm ignoring my knowledge. I'm ignoring my own time.
Okay, so tell me 2 things you'll do.
To be more organized, to meditate more, to connect with my inner self, to my self superior. How can I put this? My, you know, to have a relationship to help raise the frequency of the physical body.
Okay.
To finally vibrate at the 5th density realm body, which is immortality. Stop aging, so on. You know, it's I got it. I know exactly what to do.
That's a pretty
I know
big
exactly
thing
what
on
to
your
do,
to-do list.
and I'm not doing it. Sorry.
That's a pretty big kind of step, isn't it?
It's not. It's next up to 4. I live in the 4th density realm body.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I would probably didn't have this conversation with you right now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's not, again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a series.
No, of course not. Of course not. But to some people, can happen from the 3rd density realm body. It's possible to do it in a period of 25, 30 years, even less.
Okay.
However, to people that already were born into the 4th density realm body, it's not so difficult. It can be like this, magic.
Okay.
It's all a state of mind. You have to just feel it and believe it.
Okay.
Like the magician does. Not all magician does tricks. Most of the magicians which I've seen, they actually create stuff for good, for real, not tricks. They're not doing tricks.
No. Okay. So you're going to meditate more? That's one of
Yes, I have to meditate more. I know at some point I'm going to have to do this.
And have you got a second one, or do you want me to suggest a second one?
The second one. Yeah, stop drinking. I'm sorry. Please suggest which is the second one.
Well, I think stop drinking is not a bad one. Or maybe even cut down. Maybe even cut down your drinking.
I'm cutting down, but it's not, you know, I'm not satisfied with cutting down. I need to stop it completely.
Okay. So my suggestion then is that you stop trying to eat a whole elephant all in one go and go easy on yourself.
I am going in here, so
What
this
you
is exactly
seem
why
to
I'm
be
taking
doing to
slowly.
me is that you are saying, why am I not a perfect
I
human
went past
being or
a long time
starseed?
with that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah? So
I
that's
know.
what you need to stop doing. And once you start to feel good about who you are and not bad about who you're not.
I'm not feeling bad that I'm not someone that I should be. I'm only saying that I am conscious I can be more than I am. That's all. I'm not feeling any regrets. I'm not living in the past. Don't take me
No,
wrong.
you're not living in the past, but you're kind of talking about feeling guilty and that you could do better.
Yeah, I said that for some reason.
Yeah, just so throw
just so
that
we
out of
can.
the window. Throw it out of the window right now. I want to see
If
you
I do,
throwing it
you
out
know
of
what?
the window.
If I do that, seriously, if I do that, I'll be even more ignorant towards that.
No, you won't. You won't. You'll be raising your frequency because you'll be respecting
But
yourself.
I am actually do raise my frequency every day, and every time it's been pulled back by the people around me, even if I'm not in direct contact with them. But their energy is kind of like pull me 2 steps forwards, 1.5 back, and so on.
Because, like I said, everyone's got a different mission. Self-healing, that's the universal.
That
But
seems to
beyond,
be a message that's coming through.
right, beyond that, everyone's here for a different purpose. So we can't even tell you you need to wake up right now, because that might not be what you need to do. So it's really just look inward. We have so much power, so much knowledge that we can draw from our insides, because we're all God and God's inside of all of us. We want everyone to reach inside themselves instead of looking to someone else to dictate, so that's the kind of thing. And that's why we don't tell everyone what they need to do. We just direct people to themselves to figure out what they need to do, because everybody is here to do something different, and everybody's mission, everybody's purpose is beautiful, even though it's different.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, I get that. I take that on board. The only thing is that you're saying about having ETs like channeling through you.
Right.
That's kind of, you've got like another party, haven't you?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. From getting higher instructions. Yeah. Right. And it seems like maybe they're trying to take over and tell us what we need to do.
It's just, I'm not sure, like, on the one hand, it's look within yourself.
Correct.
And on the other hand, it's kind of channel ET information. So how does that relate?
So the way we understand it is that the ETs are us, or different aspects of us, even though they may not be a past incarnation or a future incarnation, but they are still, we're still all one in God. And the ETs just represent like kind of pretty much a higher version of our civilization. So we're going to get to where they're already at. So they're trying to look back where we're at, and because they remember, they have that history, and all their civilizations where they were, where we're at right now, before they got to where they're at. So they're just more of a counselor, and that's why they don't want to come govern us and be our president and whatnot. They want us. They just want to give us counsel so that we do it. They want to equip us with the tools so that we do it ourselves. So it's not so much, we don't see them as outside of ourselves. I guess that's where the confusion lies. We see them as when we channel with them, and when they come and we look at them face to face, it's we don't see it as something outside of ourselves. We see it as a reunification of a part of ourselves, because everything is interconnected.
Okay. And so in terms of your purpose, how clear are you about what that is and how you're going to make progress towards your purpose?
Yes, the Pleiadians kind of have a general objective that we all share, even though our specific missions are different. But it's more to just express unconditional love, to divorce yourself from like jealousy, from dog eat dog mentality, just to be separate and in that way, and to express positive vibes and emotions towards those who are giving negativity to you, even to transmute that negativity that is put on you into positivity through meditation and whatnot. We think we can transform that energy. So that's a big part of it. But for myself, like I described prior, it's more of getting prepared for first contact for our entire civilization, and of course there's certain financial barriers that exist that I described since we spoke last. One of my starseed friends that I've identified as knowing from past incarnations, he's starting to generate a little bit more money and can see himself, his business that he has blossoming, is about to buy a new equipment for his business, and I may be working with him. I'm not sure. But
is the business related to the purpose of Starseeds?
He's like landscaping. It's not a spiritual practice, but there are needs for dollars, even though we don't like the money system. To reach objectives, we still need that. So it's landscaping and some he was doing drywall yesterday, so he does a little bit of that for certain house projects. But he since I've been talking to him, his business has picked up, and I've been providing him with crystal stones, which is another big thing amongst us, and to assist him particularly with what he's trying to achieve. And there's crystal stones for business and money and prosperity and whatnot. And he says he feels their energy. Most of us have an intuitive feeling with crystal stones. We can feel them affect us, kind of like a vibration, kind of like being near an electric field. I guess that's the best way to describe it. We can feel that, and he says that what I provide him with through my intuition has helped him in that respect, and that's and of course I do that for myself. I have here. I'll have a little sample here real quick of something I discovered recently, a new crystal stone. I don't know where I put it. I'm sorry. Here, this is right here.
So how do you get that knowledge about crystals and that link with them?
Oh, it's really just stilling yourself and help and feeling their energy. And I mean, of course, you can read about it too. But generally, you go to a place where there's lots of different ones, and certain individuals are going to resonate with different stones according to how you're inwardly wired with your energy. And this one right here, this is called Angelite. I don't want to sit too close, but anyway, it's like a light blue stone, and it's this particular one. This is a sample. There's lots of different crystal stones, but this one is to connect with your spirit guides and with angels, which I'll also be working with as well. I didn't mention that before, but the figure Archangel Michael, who is mentioned in the Bible, that's part of our understanding as well. I feel I have connections with him. He's kind of a protector, if you will. When you become a starseed, you become a target as well, just kind of like Edward Snowden became a target when he put forth his knowledge. So, but it's not really from the government per se. We're not worried about the CIA. It's more of the spirit realm. You become a target. So Michael is a grand protector. A lot of starseeds look to him for protection, and he's the only being in the spirit realm that I've channeled. I haven't channeled an ET yet, but I did trans-channel him a little bit. You're really shaky when you start. It takes practice, just like when the Buddha's the Buddhists have to meditate a lot before they can levitate and whatnot. The same thing with channeling, but he gave me a message, and he's the first being I've channeled, and so I know that's a lot more of that is coming in the future. And I know this, I intuitively feel he likes this particular crystal stone, so this is the one I'll probably be handling as I channel him in the future.
So a common way that you would find a direction and purpose would be through channeling as a starseed. Yes,
channeling for starseeds gets you used to the new energies that are coming in. So for the ETs, it helps us be the liaisons because it acclimatizes us to the energy. Now I have to explain ET energies and vibrations and whatnot. The ET vibrations are much higher than ours because they are in a state where they've ascended to a higher dimension, or a higher density. So we're in third density, which is the lowest density intelligent life forms can be in. The second density is animals. First density is plants and even like rocks and whatnot. We think everything has a consciousness. Everything is one. So these ETs are coming from fourth and fifth and sixth density, Well, fourth and fifth is what we're going to be dealing with, because after you go past fifth density, there's sixth and seventh and eighth. That's all ethereal bodies. There's no physicality any longer. So like fifth density will be the highest that we'll be dealing with as far as looking face to face and dealing with them in the physical. But they have this higher vibration, and when they get our close proximity, and this is the reason why they haven't come a long time ago and just walked amongst us, is because if you haven't raised your vibration, you haven't expunged all your shame, your emotional trauma from abandonment, and amongst other emotional hurts that we all accumulate in this life, because life here is far from ideal. There's a lot of hurtful things that happen. If you don't deal with that and let it go through meditation and spiritual work, if an ET walks up to you, it will activate. It'll activate all that emotional hurt inside of you, make it come to the surface, and it would put you in psychotic shock. That's what would happen to you. So we all have to prepare for that. And as our society becomes an easier and more friendly place to live, there'll be less emotional trauma, of course, and you'll have to do less spiritual work to connect with.
Sure. And what they are qualities that I think a change maker needs to have. So there's 6 of them. Okay. First one is self-directed, being self-directed.
Yes.
Is that important?
Yes. I mean, when you first wake up, you're looking for direction from others because you have this vague remembrance, but you don't know any details. So you're trying to take in all the information you can. So there's a phase where you are relying on others' power, others' authority, but that always eventually goes to looking to yourself and figuring out yourself. That's where the path always leads.
Okay.
Right.
Being results orientated.
Yes, for sure. There are changes to our civilization that needs to happen before we go into fourth density and before the ETs come and integrate with us into the intergalactic community, and all those things are what all the Earth's do-gooders of all backgrounds and belief systems are all trying to accomplish anyway. So it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Right.
Being spiritual.
Oh yes, absolutely. Connected is what I think. Connected is what I would use as a word, but it's the same idea.
Connected to
an intuition. An intuition is yourself, which is a piece of God. And so it's as long as you stay connected, and the feeling and the information keeps flowing through that connection. Okay. And that's quote unquote being spiritual, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Non-confrontational.
Yes, we don't get that when we first wake up. So if you come across any of us that are pretty rude, that they're probably pretty new. So yeah, we feel like we need to justify ourselves at the very beginning, but that never lasts that long. So
that's more of a higher level sophisticated ability.
Right. Yeah. And after you're awake for a time, that just naturally happens anyway. You stop needing to convince others, stop needing to self-justify by winning arguments, and then you just go back into yourself. Right.
Cool. 2 more. Reject duality.
Reject duality. Well, duality is about like the darkness and the light, and I think there is a need for the darkness. So duality is just. Oh, okay. Duality is when you're adversarial against each other.
It just means there's 2 different parties or more. Okay.
Well, amongst each other, that's true, I think. But as far as darkness and light, I think most Starseeds say that we need both. You need the contrast of the dark to recognize the light. And like I said before, the negative entities that would be labeled as darkness do act as teachers for the rest of us. So that's how we kind of help heal ourselves, is by recognizing that part of us that represents what we're being adversarial towards, and accepting that, and then healing it instead of seeing it as someone you got to scrap it out with, if you will.
Okay, and finally, knowledgeable.
Knowledge, yes. Well, for us, knowledgeable, a lot of research is involved in our awakening processes. But knowledge is we see as more as a knowing, and that sounds that sounds arrogant from a third person perspective, but it's that intuition that you can tune in with, that all of us have the ability to tune in with it, to where you have that, what's called clairsentience. You just know, as opposed to, because knowledge is like learning per se. But
do you have to research stuff?
I wouldn't think there's to be any Starseed that shouldn't research anything. Yes, I mean I certainly still research, but as time progresses, it's just an inner knowing that you remember. So it's the premise that we have is that we already know just about everything, and it's just about remembering in this life. You know, research helps with that, but there's other moments where we just know things without researching, and that also adds to our pool of knowledge, if you will. So it comes from two directions from us, but our premise is that all of us and everyone we interact with already knows everything. And so, like, even if you are high spiritual and you remember a lot, you still, once you go to the spirit realm, you're no longer in this body anymore. You're not in a higher level than the other ones. So
okay, yeah, okay. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through some qualities of a change maker, and I'm gonna show them to you. Okay, and I want you to tell me if you agree with those or not. Okay,
Go on.
Does that sound
Please.
good? Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. Non-confrontational.
I'm not confrontational now.
Yeah. So you agree with this, that a change maker is non-confrontational?
If I was confrontational, probably wouldn't even have this conversation.
Okay. The next thing is knowledgeable.
Yes, I'd not say I don't claim I know it all. I'm still learning, but yes, I am on knowledge path.
Okay. Can you tell? Well, I think we've discussed some of the kind of bits of knowledge that is helping you, but I'm getting the sense that it's not so much what's wrong. You've got a sense of what's wrong, but it's something about, okay, so what can we do about it? Would that be right?
Yes. What can we do about it? The thing is, I already done it. I mean, not done it. How can I put this? I realize what's happening, and perhaps sometimes I'm expecting too much from people to do the same, but I actually know that not all of us are here to do this. Just a few individuals that are supposed to do this. I believe that we're supposed to meditate. I think it's about 144,000 or so meditate at the same time in order to trigger the event, if you like.
Okay. Well, this is my next quality of a change maker, and that is spiritual.
Spiritual, yeah.
Do you believe you have to be spiritual?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, you're being controlled.
And in a nutshell, how would you define spirituality?
Well, spirituality to me is to be a free thinker. Don't take sides. Use your logic, use your knowledge. If you don't know, if you hear something and you never heard it before, it doesn't matter if you're the only one on the planet or just a few of us on the planet that heard this. It connects to me. This is why I'm saying I may actually be, I don't know, a starseed, earth angel. I don't really care, to be honest with you. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to give examples of people how they should treat each other.
Okay.
By giving an example of loving, of not fighting back when I'm being attacked. Of course, I can protect myself, but not go any further than that.
Mm-hmm.
By giving an example of non-confrontational, non-duality. I don't like dualities. I don't do dualities.
I've got that on my list here. Look, I've got that on my list.
Reject duality. Okay, yes. You see,
duality. So we're agreeing on that. So that's good. I've got two more.
Results orientated.
Results orientated. A change maker has to be results orientated. So
yeah, like a free thinker, like I just said this, yeah.
A free thinker is different from being results orientated. Free thinker is thinking things that maybe.
Yeah, but it doesn't take sides, you see, a free thinker.
Yes, not to take sides is not to get into the duality. And finally,
Self-directed.
Self-directed. Self-directed.
This can be quite a complex subject because, you see, our brain is not built to be self-directed. It's built to receive messages, and we can translate and filter, if you like, these messages according to what we learned over the years, and choose what you want to do with the information. But every single thought that comes into our minds is not ours, is coming from somewhere, and it's up to us whether we choose to come from the good side or the bad side, to be controlled by the negative, or to have a brilliant, lovely, wonderful life when you just accept the positive. And because of that, it's hard to, in terms of logical thinking, self, how is it? Self what?
Self-directed.
Self-directed.
Self-directed. It's got a bit
You
of an
see,
oil stain on it. So
because of what I've just said, self-directed does not come with I would, how can I put this? Maybe, I don't know, maybe in the fifth density round body, but I never experienced that yet. I was very close once in 2012, so close, and I just blew it, man. Anyway, I can do it again.
what you're saying is there's a danger of kind of mental health problems if
Correct.
you go too fast or approach it in the wrong way.
Yes, the ETs through channeling say all the time it's got to be a gradual process, because those of us who awaken, especially when we first awaken, we want everything to happen now. We're ready for the ETs to come. We want society to change, and that they always have to explain to us, this is a gradual process. You waking up, there's a lot of your fellow souls on that planet that haven't woken up yet and haven't started the self-healing process, and you need to heal yourself, and you'll naturally be able to help other people heal themselves as well. So that we can.
How do you do that? How do you regulate that?
Regulate self-healing?
Yeah. How do you know, like, I'm going too fast now, I'm in danger of becoming psychotic, or how do you regulate?
The only time I experienced that is when I was working with the strongest of the crystal stones. I actually have it upstairs. I wear it around my neck. It's called Moldavite, Moldavite, Moldavite. You have to kind of work your way up to that one, and I hadn't, so I intuitively put it aside for a month. But you feel overcharged, like somebody's plugged you into a wall, and you have all this energy, and you just feel irritable. It's kind of like almost having an anxiety disorder, but not quite the same. Right. So because
intuitive kind of knowing about what to do, what crystal, where to go.
Yeah, the crystals, you have to rely on your intuition. Like for myself, I can help people if I know them to prescribe, if you will, what crystal stones might resonate with them as an individual. Now that has to do with a past life energy that I have from the ancient civilization of Lemuria, which was right alongside of Atlantis. Not very many people have heard of Lemuria, but everybody's heard of Atlantis. So that's how I describe it. And it was here on this planet. But it wasn't. We were, from a DNA perspective, we were different back then. So it's not. We weren't exactly human, even though we resembled. But Lemuria, it was pretty much. You can think of them as a commune of hippies back then. There was no computers or cars. There was no technology. That was Atlantis dabbled in the technology. The only technology they had was crystalline technology. They could use crazy stuff. They could float in the air with crystals and do all kinds of things. But that was the only technology available. So that was something I have a lot of experience in through my past life. So intuitively, I know things about this that I didn't really read. Even though when I read it, a lot of times it lines up because other people remember too. But I'll remember certain things about certain crystals, and then I'll look it up, and that's exactly correct. But it's just a remembering. So
how did you know all that stuff about Atlantis? Did you research it, or was that intuitive?
I didn't know anything about Atlantis until I researched. So that wasn't intuitive. But the Lemurian, I had a channeler tell me that a lot of my energies come from there. And that was to explain why I was so strongly drawn to crystals, and that's why it's a thing. Whereas, like, you know, psychiatrists say, well, you're strongly drawn to crystals because you're high functioning autistic and you're object oriented, right? To it,
Right.
but from us, our intuition tells us, right?
How does it work between, you've got your Starseeds, and then you've got a range of ETs or entities that can be channeled. Do they choose you, or do you choose them, or?
Both, from what I understand, that you have options per se, and you choose who you focus on, because like our potential and who we are as souls outside of these human bodies, we're pretty infinite. Like, we're eternal beings, and we know a lot more than we know in our human brains right now. So we generally have more options out there than what we can handle in this existence. So we got to kind of pick and choose. Like, okay, well, this ET being from this civilization wants to use me as a channel, and so does this one, this one, this one. I think I can only handle 2 out of the 5 for right now. So I have to choose. So it's it's a two-way channel, and that's the important thing that we like to communicate about the ETs, is that the positive ones, who are the ones that we're going to be dealing with mostly in the coming years, they require permission for everything. And they have something similar to the Star Trek Prime Directive, where they don't interfere. They don't interfere with free will. So if somebody, like when we all first awaken, we want to tell everyone and shake them and say, "Wake up! Remember who you are." Well, that's actually not love-based. That's what we want. Some people aren't ready to wake up. Just like I was 38 years old before that happened for me. If somebody was shaking me in the shoulders when I was 20 years old, that would have been very loving. I wasn't ready to wake up. So it's like all of us are on the same boat, and that's what I love about this realization, is that it's no divide and conquer. There's no us versus them. It's just all of us. It's just us. That's it. No us versus them, just us. I love it.
Okay.
And I feel that's absolutely true. You know, even the negative ones that want to manipulate and to dabble in ego, we still see that as part of ourselves too, and we have to deal with them accordingly. We don't want to destroy them. We don't want to go to war with them. We still have to accept them, see what that says about maybe something that's still inside of ourselves. They're kind of teachers in that way, the negative ones. But even
Oh, I think we've frozen up.
of ourselves as well. And so it's more.
We just froze up for just about 10 seconds there. So
Okay.
So you were talking about negative ETs, and even
Right.
We don't want to kind of be negative towards them.
Right, and it's not, and it's really, as if you were to talk about military strategy, if they would ever come to that, which I don't see it happening, because we are protected by the positive ones, it would be much more of a defensive strategy. Like we're not looking out to lash out to them and destroy their civilization. It's more of a fortifying ourselves with universal love and protecting ourselves from them, so that they don't negatively influence us. But they're also all teachers that show us what still lies inside of us that we still need to heal sometimes, because that's just kind of how the universe works. They have something in the Starseed community called the shadow self, and that instead of pushing it away, it's like, no, I don't want to be about any of that negative thing that you represent, those things that you are inspiring inside of me. The analogy I like the best is to take that shadow self and like pet it like a cat and tell everything's going to be all right. And something I heard that I don't quite understand with my human brain, but resonates regardless, is that fear. If you want to personify fear, probably the negative ETs that want you to be scared, maybe, is what this analogy is alluding to. But fear is afraid of itself. It has its own affliction on itself. So if you keep that in mind, you can let fear close and just assure it and help it overcome its fear. And then you kind of reabsorb the shadow part of yourself back into yourself. You become more complete. You become more healed. So you have to deal with the shadow aspect. You can't just push it away and pretend like it's not there. So that's how everything is part of how everything is one. Even though it would seem like this is our adversary, what we need to fight and defeat, it's actually something you need to reform, if you will, and bring into yourself.
Okay. So a lot of what you're saying seems to be the kind of things that people would be doing from a spiritual point of view.
Right.
It seems to me that perhaps it's the kind of perspective that is put on it in terms of the information flowing in from ETs and kind of the knowledge base about where you originate and all of that.
Right.
That is the kind of determining factor. But otherwise, there's not that much difference between you as a starseed and me as a non-starseed.
Right. Right.
Maybe I am. I don't know.
Well, everybody, I would say you definitely are. It's just how far back does it go,
Yeah.
and is it your time to come into the Starseed community now? It might not be. It might not be for this entire life, So it's and that's okay. We're eternal souls, so that's kind of differentiates us from some other religions. That if you don't remember, you don't wake up, you get to come back. So it's not no eternal consequence, But it's everyone eventually wakes up. But even when we're not, it's not like I'm superior to you or anything. There's no loftiness in this whole game. It's all, everyone's where they're at for a reason. And some people came here not to wake up, and apparently this is something I found very interesting, is that apparently our higher self, if we have an entire life where we don't remember anything, our higher self looks at that after we pass on, and our soul goes and chooses what it's going to do next. That even though the human aspect didn't understand it, that it was a fantastically interesting and enriching experience not knowing anything. that they enjoyed it, and that it was a worthwhile experience. Right. So yeah, that just teaches us to be respectful and not to don't make it sound like it's a all or nothing proposition with anyone. It's supposed to be natural. It's all supposed to be mostly fun,
So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever level you're at, it's all good.
It's all good. Yes. Yeah.
So what do you see as your mission? You said something about there's going to be a first meeting,
First contact.
First contact.
Yes, and that's
So what's the relationship between the first contact and everything that you're doing now leading up to it?
Okay. Well, so yeah, self-healing is the first thing. Like the crystal stones made some old issues come up, things that you already think you dealt with when you go into the self-healing process spiritually. They come up again. You got to deal with them on a deeper level. So I had an ex-girlfriend that I thought I had let go, but I still had to deal with some hurts, and I felt like the emotions all over again. So the self-healing is always the first step. For me specifically, for that task of self-contact, I'll be doing some preparatory work, as in bringing ETs down to land before they come for the masses. So it'll just be a small group thing, but it's just so that their energy can get infused into the earth, whom we call Gaia, of course. We see Gaia as a being, and that's a big reason why we're here, because she's a beautiful being and she's a very forgiving being. A lot of other beings that are planets would have wiped us out by now because we've been damaging her so much, but she's just such a being of pure love and forgiveness and whatnot, that she still loves us as her children, even though we're harming her. And so I lost my train of thought, I think.
So basically your self-healing, because that's part of the what's required of you to be able to have contact with higher beings,
and then also transmitting other people's negative energy into positive. That helps the collective, if you will, of everyone. But so back to the beings. So after the self-healing, we're going to establish a plot of land over in the west part of our country, somewhere Colorado, Arizona, California, and we're going to be growing a farm there. But the farm is just kind of an excuse to have the land and to get the money for the operation. But we're going to be bringing them in the Yael race, which isn't the first race that the public is going to meet, but we're working with them because they're coming in for this preparatory work where they'll be coming down, and by doing so, we'll be infusing Gaia in that area of land with higher ET frequencies and energies, which will make first contact go more smoothly when it does happen in the mid 2030s. So
that'll be a combination of starseeds who have successfully kind of moved through all their issues and raised their frequency, and a band of ETs.
Correct. Yes, the ETs won't be living there with us. They're going to come in for short visitations, say like a half hour, an hour, and then they're going to leave. And we're just going to do that multiple times. But yes, we'll be a band of people that have moved through the self-healing processes. But we'll also be doing meditations together for those who might be a little bit newer, so that they can heal as well and get to the level. So we'll have like a programmatic type of structure to help people, heal their hurts, so that they can get to the point where Yael walking up to them won't make them collapse and go into psychotic shock.
And how do you meet each other? Because do you know other starseeds?
I met a couple at my work just through intuition. Now the gentleman that will be kind of the priest, if you will, even though he won't call himself that, the kind of the person that meditates the most and has the most communication. He has YouTube videos, and I intuitively felt after watching some of them, like that he and I had known each other. There was a familiarity there. Of course, a skeptic would say that's just because he's charismatic, and I fell into his charisma. But after talking to him on the phone, we had a long conversation, and yeah, he also remembers me and knows that I'm going to be part of this group that we're going to be putting together. But again, this isn't common to all Starseeds. This is kind of this is one example of one specific mission. So yeah, not everyone has to fall in line. There will be other groups like ours in other parts of the world, but that's not the majority of Starseeds won't be doing what I'm describing. This is kind of a subset.
Okay, so what will the majority be doing?
A lot of them are psychic reading, helping people heal, because that's like really the main objective. And once you heal, it's also easier to make an agreement. It also dispels greed, so sharing of resources is easier that way. So and some of them are just here just to be themselves. Really, I mean, that's the best way to say it. Being yourself and as a starseed means being unselfish and being outgoing and loving and whatnot. So then that of course that energy is contagious. And
so do some starseeds have a mission to do their work within communities?
Absolutely.
You're saying like you're going to go off and start a community somewhere.
Right. I'm not really clear. I mean, there are a lot of channel messages that say that there is a time where we're going to get together in these communities. So I'm not sure if we're going to look like, like the Christian church with the building and whatnot. I'm not certain.
Okay, that's fair enough. So do you think it would help to have a group of people that you can connect with regularly?
It does help much better. The founders and all these guys.
Questions I had as well.
Sorry to interrupt, darling. Yes, you're right. They did say we're supposed to be doing this in groups because we're much more powerful in a collective.
Okay.
When you meditate in collective, yes, and this is why. Or I can do it on my own in the mountains when I'm not interfered by any other negative energy. I can do it. I know I can do it. I can do it.
Good, great. So we're coming towards the end. I have a final question about doing what you want to do in a collective. Would it need to be a starseed collective, or would it be a mixed collective? What kind of collective?
Well, first of all, it has to be a positive, a collective which work for divine loving light. There's so many so-called collectives, light collectives, which is fake light collective, and they give the illusion of doing well, and all they do is just running, staying still. This is I don't care which collective I'm gonna work with. I can work with more collectives as long as I work for the divine loving light. Period.
Okay. And do you have any idea of your role within that yet, or is that something that still needs
I have an idea. Yes, of course I do. Yes.
You want
I
to
came
share
here
it now or not?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to share it or not at this
Yes,
point?
of course.
Okay.
Yes, with pleasure. Yes, yeah. I know I came here in this lifetime in order to help, including with myself, coming out of this loop of incarnation. I came to help enlighten other souls to realize who they really are and go home. We had kind of long run.
Okay, but that is a very general, wide purpose. I want to know what your specific role is in doing that.
I told you in the beginning, by being I am being myself. I'm not trying to be someone else. By being myself, I can't go wrong with that.
Okay.
I can only give examples of those around me to do the same. Not to, because I never judge. I mean, if I do, I try to come into my space and think, I'm not judging, I'm only observing.
Okay.
So,
your purpose is a spiritual purpose.
If for example, I'm not I'm not doing confrontational stuff. I'm not making any duality. I'm not fighting anyone. If people attack me, either if it's on Facebook or face to face, I always smile. I always step back. If I've been called a coward, I'm saying with my heart on my hand on my heart, yes, you're right. I'm a coward. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you, and I just go away. I don't care. I don't do duality anymore.
Okay.
So anybody else can see me doing that. Obviously, as negative affects the positive affects 100-fold more and stronger than the negative that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you like, yeah. So yeah, I'm doing the right way. Yes, I'm not expecting to be, I don't know, some sort of magician, which I don't know, maybe later on. But at the moment, I'm enjoying the beers. I'm sorry to say that.
Is there anything else that you want to say? Do you have a message for other starseeds or other people?
One thing comes to mind is that we talk amongst people and spread and tell our message, and most people look at us in disbelief, and we're here to dispel that disbelief. We're here to show everyone what is possible, because we know what's impossible. We remember what's impossible. We have that experience of higher civilizations where everything is a lot better, that runs a lot smoother, where there is a lot more community amongst everyone.
How have you had experience of higher civilizations? Memory?
It's not specific experiences in my past life, just the general feeling of not having to worry about bills or paying or generating income with money, and not having so many spats over ego type of issues.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here to do, is we'll help this civilization raise from mostly an ego-based mentality to a mentality of love, which is the third chakra to the fourth chakra. So we're trying to help them ascend, and when we do ascend, then we'll be in the fourth density instead of the third density, where everyone will just naturally get along a lot better.
Cool. And is there anything that you feel that you need as a starseed or a starseed community?
What we need, really just what's inside of us. I think that's it. We just need to get better tuned with what's inside of us already, what's already there. So yeah, so it's like we won't be reaching out and asking others too much.
Okay, cool. That's great. Thank you very much, Steve.
I enjoy this partnership. Thank you. It's a great conversation.
Okay, is there anything you want to say to finish off?
Well, yes. I did enjoy actually this conversation. It's the first time someone has listened to me recording it as well.
Yeah.
I like to watch the video. Are you gonna You're going to post this video somewhere? Or?
Yes, I will do. I haven't decided. I'll probably edit it in some form or other. It
Right.
might be a mixture of Starseed, kind of giving their responses to each question, or it might be
Okay.
like a shorter version edited of each one individually. I haven't really decided that. I'm going to see what I end up with and then decide.
Okay.
Then
So
I'll send it to
just
you.
let me know when you do that, because I would like to have a look at it.
Yeah, sure. I'll send it to you to make sure that you're happy with it, and then I'll be able to post it.
Yes, before you end this interview, I would like to thank you for what you're doing. I think you're very brave by doing that. I was thinking to do this many times actually, to I don't know, to make videos and probably put them on YouTube or whichever, on Facebook perhaps. I can probably that way help more people than I'm usually doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, but I will probably do that.
About
I
raising
do want to write a book, however. The book that I'm going to write, and I'm glad this is recorded, because if somehow someone will tell me, oh, you copied this thing from somewhere, I don't know, I may have, but it came to me. It came to me. So the name of the book, it will be something like the expression of forever, in fact, is the eternal now.
The expression of
forever.
The expression of forever.
It's the eternal now.
It's the eternal now. Okay.
And this is, in more or less, this will be the title of the book, and I know I will do it. I know I will write that book.
Great. So this is Sorin talking to us on Sunday, the 12th of August, telling us about his intention to write The Expression of Forever. It's the eternal now.
Yes.
In the year 2018.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.